Hey guys, it's Brian with Retired at 40. Welcome back to my freeze drying room, and today we're doing a comparison of the Harvestright freeze dryers, the two different sizes. We're doing the large and the medium, and I have a unique opportunity today because I have both. These are made by a company called Harvestright. They're the only game in town when it comes to freeze drying for just the regular average Joe at home. If you were to buy a similar model to this in a commercial setting, it would be in upwards of $10,000, $20,000. So today we're going to put the Harvestright freeze dryer up against itself. We're going to put the Harvestright Large Freeze dryer versus the medium Harvestright freeze dryer, and we're going to cover some things that haven't been done to my knowledge. One of the things that separates these two, one does quite a bit more than the other. We're going to see how long the cycle times take in each of them. We're going to get a rough guesstimate on electrical costs. We're also going to go over the price difference of both units, and then we're really going to focus in on that capacity and size difference between the two different models. So in preparation for this video, I went a little crazy at the store yesterday. So we're gonna fill up an entire batch of medium trays, an entire batch of large trays, and I'm gonna show you how much the difference is, which kind of justifies the purchase price as well. So in order to do that, the first thing that we need to do is just talk about the tray sizes, because one entire cycle in the large, it's 5 trays. The tray is quite a bit bigger than a medium, but not only is the tray bigger, but the amount of trays. So you're gonna get 4 trays like this in the medium, whereas in the large you're gonna get 5 trays of this larger size. And really what that equates to is the large in one cycle will do 1.75 times an entire cycle in the medium. The easiest way to convey this to you is just to see what the surface area of all these trays would be. So you're basically looking at 30 inches by 17.25 for the medium size versus about 45.25 by 20 for the large size. But for me, that's not good enough. I want real world results. So I think the easiest way to do that is fill up an entire tray of each of what I have today for food, which is gonna be all fruit, and then fill up an entire tray of the large versus the medium and see how much more you're gonna get with a full tray. So I'm gonna weigh a medium tray empty first. That's going to be 1 pound 10 ounces. That's pretty uniform. I've measured enough of these that they're all really close, give or take a few like tenths of an ounce. And the large tray is going to be 2 pounds 1 ounce. For these first trays, I'm going to do red grapes, and keep in mind we're really focused on the pre-frozen freeze-dried weight more than the after freeze-dried weight, because stuff that's freeze-dried really, it doesn't weigh a whole lot, so it takes a really big difference to make to really see the difference in results. But I'm just going to skip the step of you watching me cut these all up, and I'm just going to snap my fingers, and these trays are going to be full of grapes. There we go. I think we've got all of them spaced pretty evenly between the mediums and the large. This medium tray with the grapes on it is now 3 pounds 10 ounces, and the large is now 4 pounds 15 ounces. Let's do some strawberries. Medium tray weighs 4 pounds 2 ounces now. Large is 5 pounds 5 ounces. And anytime I do fruits, I use these pre-cut parchment papers from freezedryingsupplies.com. Apples are 2 pounds 8 ounces on the medium tray. And our large tray is going to be 3 pounds 6 ounces. And then if you want to keep those apples and the bananas from browning, just get a little spray bottle with lemon juice in it and spray them with lemon juice. It'll keep them from browning. Or you can also dip them in lemon juice. And we like to put some cinnamon on ours also. And since we have an extra bonus 5th tray with the large, we're going to do another set of apples. Those are 3 pounds 6 ounces. Bananas are 2 pounds and 15 ounces on the medium tray. There's the large tray of bananas, 3 pounds 15 ounces. So we're ready to go. We've got 4 trays loaded up for the medium, 5 trays loaded up for the large. And just if you're curious, these are our new freeze dryer tray stackers. These make it really easy to carry things to the freeze dryer. It makes it easier if you're pre-freezing and you're deep freeze. They're all food grade and dishwasher safe, and you can check those out down in the description down below. I'll put a link for our store, freezedryingsupplies.com. I've also got my kilowatt meter zeroed out. Having the one on the medium, we can get a pretty good idea because most of the components are the same as far as the pumps and everything. Really the only thing that's different about the machines is the chamber is a lot larger. And just to clarify, these are both running a Premier pump. This is a Premier pump on the large as well. It's actually just behind the machine so you can't see it. So they have the same pump. These are the same generation of freeze dryer. They have the same updated software. Everything is identical on them other than the size. Okay, so now that we're up and running, let's talk about the elephant in the room and the thing that's probably the most important thing between these two, and that's going to be the price difference. Right now, the medium freeze dryer is selling for $26.95. The large freeze dryer is selling for $33.95. That's a difference of $700. So is it worth the extra $700? Probably use the rest of this video to see if you can justify that or not. I also want to point out that that price for both of those is with a standard pump, and if you have questions about which pump you want, I have other videos that I'll link down below that you can check those out. There's three different pump options right now. I have two of the Premier pumps. I have an oilless pump on order, so I can do a review of that as well. I will say that if you upgrade to the Premier pump, it's a $700 upgrade. If you upgrade to the oilless pump, it's a $1,500 upgrade. So that's another thing that you need to weigh out, whether the positives justify the extra cost. I also want to go over some spec differences just between the two different sizes. And these first specs are from Harvestright, so you can take that how you want to. The first being the amount of food per batch that you can expect. Medium is going to be 7 to 10 pounds per batch. The large is going to be 12 to 16 pounds, and that's going to yield you 1.5 to 2.5 gallons of freeze-dried food in the medium and 2 to 3.5 gallons of freeze-dried food in the large. And that means if you're running this medium freeze dryer pretty much non-stop annually, you can do about 1,500 pounds of food and about 2,500 pounds of food in the large, which is going to yield you about 300 gallons of food in the medium and about 550 gallons in the large. So now you can start to see where that starts to add up, because this one is doing almost double what this one is doing annually. Now, what about the difference in size? Maybe size is a big important thing to you. Maybe you don't have enough space as it is, so you're really on the fence whether you want to do the medium or the large. The medium, the new medium, is very compact compared to the old medium. It's 18 inches wide as opposed to about 20.25 for the large. The height's about 29.5 as opposed to the large being about 31.25. Not a huge difference there. The depth with the cord factored in, because the cord does stick out behind the wall, all the way to the tip of this handle is about 27 inches. The large is just about 30.25. And you would think that something that can do almost twice as much food than another would have to be twice as big, but really the thing that's about twice as big is the chamber. So both the machines have been running for about 40 minutes now, and you can see this one says 37.26. This one says 37.28 now, so they're really only a couple seconds apart. But you'll notice one big difference, and I think that'll become more apparent as the cycle goes on. 49 degrees. And this one's at 38 degrees, so getting really close to freezing already. So just from hearing people's experiences in the Facebook group and the MeWe group, the large is always going to take longer. The cycles are going to take longer, which makes sense because you're doing a whole lot more food with basically the same components. So it's going to take longer to freeze it, it's going to take longer to warm it up, it's going to take longer to remove the water, which is also going to make it take more power and electricity to get all of that done. So So I mentioned the Facebook and the MeWe groups. Those are two awesome resources. Just search Retired at 40s Freeze Drying Group on Facebook. If you don't like Facebook, we have a MeWe group as well. I'll put those links down in the description. And while you're at it, just give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Take a minute to subscribe to Retired at 40 Live Life Simple. We primarily do freeze drying on this channel, so if you are interested in freeze drying and you like freeze drying, we have over 100 videos of freeze drying now. And if you want to see a new freeze drying video every Sunday at 8 o'clock, turn on your notifications. Just click that bell down by the subscribe button. That'll notify you every time a new video comes out. All right, I'm going to babysit these two for the next, I don't know, 24 hours. See what the differences are when they switch over to cycles, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. So we're about 3 hours in. The medium just went to vacuum freezing, and it's at negative 28 degrees. The large is still at 18 degrees. All right, now this is pretty interesting. We're at 4 hours and 37 minutes. The large is still freezing. The medium is now on drying mode. So we're about 17 hours in now. The medium is on final dry. It's getting pretty close. The large is on drying and still over 600 milliliters, so it's got a while still. Our medium's done, 21 hours and 29 minutes. I have my doubts because grapes usually take a little bit longer, but definitely not done. I'm gonna throw some more time back on. So I added 6 hours onto the medium, so we're at 27 and a half hours. But funny enough, because I kind of fumbled around to do the other stuff, the large is now on final dry, and it's almost to the end here, and it probably only has, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes left, I would guess. So the stuff that's in here is most likely done now. It's had quite a bit of time, even for wet foods that they are. The large, we probably will have to add some time, but time will tell on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the air back into this one again. I'm gonna test it with my moisture meter. If it's done, I'm gonna bag it. We'll see what this one has to say here when it finishes up soon. Instead of drawing this all out, I'm just gonna I'll wait till this one's done. I'll wait till this one's done, and I'll check back in with you. We are finally done. We've got some bananas, some apples, some strawberries, some grapes. They got real shriveled, but they're done. All in under 40 hours. I did add all that time onto the medium. Our large, I have not added any time onto it yet. It's on final dry, and it's saying 34 minutes left. So we're gonna check and see how that is. Most likely we're gonna have to add some more time on this. All right, so the large has been going for just under 48 hours right now, and I think everything should be done. And hindsight is always 20/20. I probably should not have done grapes in this load for this video because it's not a typical example. They take a lot longer than most things do because there's so much water in them. Normally a cycle is going to be about 24 to 30 hours for most things. I also want to show you one of the handiest things that I've ever gotten while freeze drying, and it's a moisture meter. It's a probe type. I'll put a link in the description like I usually do, just so you can check it out. Everything seems to be done. It's like 47 hours and 49 minutes and 49 seconds on the large. So I've gone over all the specs. We've done a full cycle in each of these. Let's go crunch some numbers, and then I'll get you a rough electrical cost difference. So I want to remind you, this is going to be a really rough estimate of our electrical cost for the large. The medium will be right on. The large is just going to be a guess because I don't have a 20 amp kilowatt meter. I will get one in the future. They're kind of spendy. But let's get into this. So the medium cycle time was 38 hours and 14 minutes. The kilowatt hours on that would be 26.3 kilowatt hours. And then the large cycle time was 47 hours and 49 minutes, which means if it was running at the same efficiency as the medium, it would be 32.1 kilowatt hours. I'm going to assume that it does not run as efficient as the medium does. So like I said, that is a total guesstimate, but that at least gives you a baseline of the comparison of the two. So in order to figure out what our kilowatt hours would equate to for cost, I use 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That's right around the national average, and that way you just have to move a decimal point. That means that our cycle cost in electricity for the medium was $2.63. Our cycle cost for the large roughly was $3.21. And I really want to reiterate, this is a rough estimate for the large, and every cycle is going to be different, just depending on what kind of foods you're doing. But I will say, in my experience, the average cycle cost for the medium has been about $2 to $3, and you can pretty much count on that every time. Alright guys, well hopefully with all that information you're able to make an informed decision on what size freeze dryer you need. And if you're thinking about purchasing a freeze dryer, please consider using our affiliate link down below in the description. It really helps us provide this content to you. It helps us purchase things that we do giveaways with on our freeze drying groups. It allows us to have the newest information and the newest equipment that freeze drying has to offer. And it really benefits the whole freeze drying community. In the meantime, remember to live life simple, and we'll catch you next week.